Please welcome Sharanya Dota Panini.
Hello, Universe. How is everyone doing today? Good. Good. There's some energy around metrics. I'm Sharanya Dota Panini, VP of Engineering at GitHub. You must have already invested in AI or are thinking about it. The next challenge is how do you measure impact of AI? Metrics is how you connect AI innovation to business outcomes. Today, we'll talk about how our customers and we at GitHub are using metrics to guide that journey. All right, a quick poll. Raise your hand if you think metrics are important. That's pretty good. About 90% of you think so. See, metrics are already working even before I got started. But seriously, that's closer to 100%. We think of metrics as a journey. It starts with adoption and usage metrics, showing who's using Copilot and how. And then it grows into proficiency and efficiency metrics, showing how effective AI is in your organization and how it's transforming your workflows. Finally, it grows into business and impact metrics, showing how it translates into velocity, quality, and ROI. Right now, we're in that first phase, helping our customers understand how to measure adoption and usage. Our goal is to get to business and impact ROI insights. We're not there yet, but we plan to get you there. With that in mind, I'm thrilled to announce the refreshed Copilot Metrics dashboard and API in public preview today. With this, you get access to usage and adoption metrics across your enterprise. We will GA metrics in February of 2026. This is our first milestone, but it's just the beginning. Today, you will be able to opt into public preview and get access to Copilot metrics. Enterprise admins can enable this for their enterprises via the agent control plane policies. Let's bring this to life. Meet Mona Inc., a company that looks a lot like yours. They've adopted Copilot, and they're using Copilot Metrics dashboard to understand where AI is taking hold and where they need to do more. Let's walk through a few real-life inspired customer journeys via Mona Inc. We'll also talk about how different levels across the company use the metrics dashboard to drive and measure impact. First, we have the CTO of Mona Inc. They leverage metrics to make strategic decisions. They want to understand how Mona Inc. is positioned to be an AI-first organization. With a 72% agent adoption rate, they have a concrete baseline that they can work against instead of anecdotal feedback. The CTO is looking to understand how Mona Inc. is making progress towards the AI transformation journey, and this metric provides that exactly. Next, we have the VP of Engineering of Mona Inc., and that's me. They care about developer happiness and productivity. They approach the dashboard with strategic engineering leadership questions. They're looking for insights to understand how AI impacts day-to-day activities of engineers. They review active user trends. With an 85% active user trend, they can confidently say that Copilot is no longer an early adopter enthusiasm, but has become integral to how engineers deliver code to production. Next, we have CIO of Mona Inc. They care about cost. They want to know that Copilot is not a nice-to-have tool, but it's actually a business-critical investment. And they want to connect business value to spend. And the way they can do that is looking at billing utilization metrics and connecting that to metrics like lines of code. Lines of code accepted, for example, is a concrete data that they can use to translate to business value. For spend, they can look at billing premium analytics across their enterprise, organization, and user level to observe for trends. Finally, we have the hardworking engineering manager of Mona Inc. They care about team productivity and enablement. They look at metrics to make day-to-day practical decisions. For them, they have access to user-level downloadable report via the dashboard and API. Unlike execs that care about broad trends, engineering managers look for granular trends. With the user downloadable report, you should be able to go down to team member level to see who is thriving with AI and who needs support. This way, you're able to identify power users and spread the knowledge. Now that I've covered an overview of the metrics dashboard, why don't we see this live? Please welcome Shruti Corbett to give you a live demo of Copilot Metrics dashboard.
Thank you, Sharani, and good afternoon, everyone. Who's excited about metrics? As you can see, we've got a powerful set of metrics right at our fingertips, all neatly visualized in this dashboard. You could spot trends, dig deeper with the API, or download a user-level report. These options give you 28 days of detailed data, perfect for understanding usage patterns or sharing insights with your teams. Now, instead of just talking about charts and numbers, let's bring this to life with a demo. We'll revisit our fictional company, Mona Inc., and see how engineering leaders use these metrics to measure success, make decisions, and prove AI impact across their org. And remember, these metrics are just the beginning. Even with today's adoption data, we're already building toward future impact metrics that tell an even richer story. So let's dive in and see how Mona Inc. turns data into decisions. So let's start with our first few cards here. Our CTO is on a mission to understand how far along their org is in AI transformation. That 80% plus agent adoption rate, that's just their North Star, a real data-backed baseline, not just anecdotal feedback. With this number, they can see who's adopting and who's not, and decide how leadership can drive more adoption. For our engineering manager, this is where they ask why. They segment adoption by team or project, looking for workflow issues, training gaps, or tool configuration problems. As we move down the dashboard, our CTO looks at monthly active user trends. They compare daily patterns with weekly patterns to see where engagement is the strongest. When they spot a dip, they don't assume failure. They reach out to understand why. Our VP of engineering, though, looks at the same data with a different lens. They focus on how Copilot affects daily engineering work. With almost 400 weekly active users, they know Copilot isn't a novelty. It's part of the core workflow. For the engineering manager, this is where they combine Copilot data with GitHub repo and PR insights. They overlay active users with pull request creation rates to see if higher usage equals higher throughput. Now, when it comes to onboarding, our VP of engineering tracks average chats per user. New teams start with high chat usage, then level off as they get comfortable. If that pattern breaks, it's a sign that the team needs extra coaching or support. But for our engineering manager, this metric becomes an onboarding heat map. Low chat counts could mean under adoption. High sustained counts could mean over-reliance. They pair this with retros and feedback to fine-tune training and documentation. Next up, let's look at our requests per mode. Our CTO looks at which features drive the most value: chat, agent, or inline edits. That helps decide where to invest and train. Our VP of engineering compares how teams use each mode. Are they asking quick questions or diving deep into agent workflows? And then the engineering manager looks for imbalances. If a team relies only on ask mode but skips edit or agent, they're missing out on speed and automation. So this isn't just training. It's about removing friction and changing workflows so teams adopt modes that drive merge velocity and reduce review grind. Let's move down here and look at how developers engage with Copilot's inline code suggestions. On the left, we see suggested versus completed completions. The key insight here: accepted completions stay strong, even while suggestions fluctuate. That's consistent engagement in action. On the right, we have our acceptance rate. Mona Inc. stays around 25 to 30%, a healthy range that shows trust and integration. Now, for our VP of engineering, this is pure gold. A rising rate means better prompting and faster coding. A dip could mean time for training or workflow tweaks. And for our CTO, this proves Copilot adoption is sustainable. They use this in quarterly reviews to show real return on investment. For the engineering manager, this is a coaching opportunity. They filter by team. Low acceptance may mean complex legacy code. They compare that to code review metrics. If high acceptance teams also have fewer rejections, that's proof Copilot improves both speed and quality. And remember, all of this data is critical as we continue to build future impact metrics that will give us deeper insights. Now let's look at model usage. Claude Sonnet dominates at almost 80% of activity. The CTO sees great traction, but also sees a need potentially for diversification and optimization. GPT-5 and 4.1 make up about 15%, showing engineers are experimenting and using models for different types of tasks. Our VP of engineering spots that most interactions happen in ask and agent mode. Proof engineers use AI for problem solving and not just editing. And that insight drives prompt design training and deeper AI fluency. Together, these metrics show not just adoption, but evolution in engineering culture. Now, before we move to the downloadable data, let's look at language usage trends. Go and Ruby make up a little over 18% or 15%, while TypeScript and React follow close behind. But the big story here is over 70% of usage comes from other languages, meaning Copilot is used across the full tech stack. Our CTO loves that. It's proof of wide adoption. The VP of engineering also notices GPT-5 gaining small traction with back-end Go teams, showing that engineers are experimenting by language. These insights drive both breadth and depth, company-wide AI fluency, and targeted team enablement. Now let's jump to the downloadable report, which you can see can be downloaded from here, or can also be accessed from the API. And let's look at lines of code data, both in our JSON format and summarized in our Jupyter notebook. As you can see, this is the JSON file downloaded, and if I switch over to my Jupyter notebook, you could see our lines of code analysis. For the engineering manager, this is about motivation. They can say, our team produced this many lines of code this quarter, saving engineering hours and shipping faster. It turns metrics into meaning. For our CIO, this is all about ROI. They track AI-generated lines of code, lines deleted, and efficiency gains. And when they see lines written with AI, they estimate the time and cost saved, converting rough hours into dollar value. So when our CFO asks, What are we getting for this spend? The CIO answers confidently, we're freeing engineers to focus on what moves the business forward. And fun fact, you can use Jupyter Notebook or any other analytical tool to analyze this data yourself. Just ask Copilot to generate the insights. I don't want to spoil what Sharanya will go over next, but our goal is simple. Make value visible and turn it into action faster. As you can see, data tells us a powerful story. Every organization will uncover its own patterns and its own opportunities. By combining Copilot metrics with GitHub repo, commit, and PR insights, leaders can see the full engineering impact. With these dashboards and what's ahead, every leader, from developer to CIO, can see how Copilot drives efficiency and transformation. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Sharanya, to walk us through what's next. Thank you, everybody.
All right, wasn't that exciting to see the demo? Thank you, Shruti. In summary, this is what is available today. Enterprise-level dashboard and API for usage and adoption metrics. You also have access to user-level downloadable report via the dashboard and API. All of this is available in a 28-day rolling window. And you also have access to billing analytics across enterprise, organization, and user-level data. Metrics don't just measure progress. They reveal stories. They give leaders insights into what's working, where to focus, and how to take action. One of our retail customers started with something very simple. They started tracking active users. And they were able to quickly identify teams that were thriving with AI. And these teams became case studies to show the rest of the organization what AI efficient really looks like. So the next time when usage dipped, it wasn't a problem. It was a signal to increase enablement and keep the momentum high. We've done the same at GitHub. When we were rolling out Copilot internally within GitHub, we ran short, focused experiments where we asked our engineers to intentionally use AI for projects. The results? They used it for writing documentation. And let's be honest, who really likes writing docs? I don't. You do. They also used it to fix accessibility issues while keeping the velocity strong for features. They also used it to fix tech debt issues in the backlog that existed for months. These stories became contagious. They created new ways of thinking and new ways of working. And every one of them started with metrics, insights into AI impact. Because when you can see what's working, you can scale it. And that's how metrics become the engine of transformation. Metrics are just one data point in a much bigger picture. To truly become AI efficient, organizations need a cycle of observe, gather feedback, deploy solutions, and improve. You can use metrics to observe trends, patterns, and problems. And then you gather feedback. And at GitHub, that means productivity surveys, live Slack channel conversations, and we also have a computer club where AI enthusiasts come together to shape the product. Once we understand the feedback, you act. This could be learning sessions, peer pairings, or even product fixes. The continuous loop of observe, learn, and act is what makes us better at using AI, and also makes AI work better for us. Metrics is just part of the puzzle. It's just one piece. With the APIs that we provide, you can plug Copilot metrics directly into your ecosystem. Use the GitHub data, plug it into your existing tools. Our customers are already doing this. They're integrating APIs into their own custom dashboards to use for team reviews and exec reviews, to identify end-to-end insights and where to create more business impact. We're all in different stages of AI journey, but one truth remains the same. Developer engagement and visibility are essential to unlocking Copilot potential. If you're interested in learning more about our customer journeys, do visit the Show and Tell booth in GitHub Central. You might be wondering, what's next on the roadmap? I know that's a big question you might have. What you saw till now was phase one, usage metrics as our foundation. We're shipping updates monthly, and our focus is clear. We want to get you from adoption to impact and answer questions like, how much code is AI generating? How fast is it moving through the pipeline? And what's the ROI? With that, let's look at the roadmap. In 2025, the remaining of the year, we plan to deliver lines of code metrics in the dashboard. It's available in the API today. We'll also add support for organization-level analytics. In the beginning of 2026, you will have fine-grained permissions for roles, so you can control access to Copilot metrics. Copilot metrics will also be provided on our data resident solution in January of 2026. In February of 2026, we will be GAing metrics. Continuing with our journey of adding more metrics, we will be adding non-IDE sources like Copilot Coding Agent and Copilot Code Review metrics. In addition to that, we will be adding next edit suggestions metrics. You all want to look at longer trends of data. And this is where we'll be increasing the data window for metrics beyond the 28 days that we have today. Beyond that, we will be building an analytics agent on top of the insights so that you can conversationally gather metrics. For our power users, we will be rolling out data warehouse connectors so that you can plug the data into your own analytics solutions. For granular information, you can look at team and repo-level analytics. For Copilot Pro and Pro Plus customers, you will have access to individual analytics. All of this while we continue to roll out more impact metrics. This roadmap is going to be iterated based on your usage and feedback. Over the coming months, GitHub will deliver end-to-end insights for your software development lifecycle so that you can create efficiencies with GitHub and Copilot across plan, code, verify, deploy, and operate phases. These insights will be PR velocity, time to production, quality metrics. With these metrics, you'll be able to illuminate areas where you need to focus and increase impact. We'll also be focusing on providing unique insights that only GitHub can provide. These include metrics like AI contribution and developer contributions, and also survival metric of AI code in your code base, and more. These golden metrics will help you get the full end-to-end story of how GitHub and Copilot are giving you the impact you need. Remember, we're on a shared journey for metrics, and we appreciate your partnership. The AI landscape evolves fast, and so must measurement. We're building the product for you, with you. And we understand what gets measured gets better, and what gets better generates ROI. Metrics aren't just a nice-to-have tool. They are a critical tool to drive Copilot investment and impact. With that, I'll do one last poll. Raise your hand if you think metrics are important. All right, we're closer to 100%. That means metrics on my metrics talk are already working. Thank you for your time today.